we're talking not just the development cost, but the operational costs, the maintenance costs, the upgrade costs. So not exactly an easy thing to determine with regard to value for money.
I have a big problem with what Mr. New CIO just said.
This is a clip taken from our previous live stream breakdown of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts on March the 6th, 2024. You can find the links to the full live stream replay as well as the original committee video in the description.
Let's take a look.
Ms. Kusie joining us virtually. You have the floor for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you again to all of our witnesses for being here today. It's very much appreciated. Auditor General, we thank you very much again for this incredible report. So, to review, ArriveCan is an application that was supposed to cost $80,000 according to a group of individuals who were able to put this application together over a weekend. The number we were working with for a long time was $54 million, not a small sum. But as a result of this report, the Auditor General's report, we determined that ArriveCan cost a minimum of $59.5 million, $60 million of Canadians' hard-earned taxpayer dollars. And in fact, in her report, as you know, she stated, the report stated, that this number might in fact even be larger as a result of poor documentation, missing documentation. So Canadians are very well on the hook for ArriveCan for more than $60 million. So I have a simple forward question for the Comptroller of Canada, Monsieur Huppé. A straight question, a yes or no for Canadians, please. Do you believe that Canadians receive value for money with ArriveCan? Yes or no, please.
Thank you. Based on the Auditor General's finding, value for money there was no documentation to support the different spend on this, so it was very difficult to understand exactly the value for money at the end of this. So I have to say that I did not audit these contracts, did not audit the work, but I rely on the work of our Auditor General that's pointed out that it was extremely difficult to, and I don't want to put words in her mouth here, but it was extremely difficult to follow the trace. There was poor financial records. So value for money right now was completely difficult to assess, I would say.
Oh, come on.
Did the Auditor General not say verbally that Canadians didn't get value for money?
She certainly did say that.
Okay, I didn't think I was mistaken.
And she said that a few times, right? She said that a few times. So already we see how the Treasury Board is going to be leaning here.
Well, they're trying to protect their own skin, right? Because it's them who released the funds for this project, right?
Yep. And this guy here, everybody, he's the comptroller. So there's a position in many organizations called the corporate controller, and they essentially control the financial transactions. They're kind of like the beating heart of the organization's finances. So they control and are responsible for all of the transactions financially that happen within an organization. So that's kind of what this guy is when it comes to Treasury Board. And if you look at that, he has a pretty important job. So if he's the comptroller for the Treasury Board, then that also means that he has visibility to every single financial transaction, whether he looks at it or not, within the federal government of 300,000 public servants. So not insignificant.
Well, and you're relying upon her words, Monsieur Huppé. She, in fact, did state that she did not believe that Canadians receive value for money.
Excellent.
Okay, good. I was right.
I'm glad Stephanie Kusie was paying attention just as well as we were. So, okay. Clearly we have good memories. So, yeah, Auditor General clearly said that. So if you rely on her words, then you better be saying the same thing.
And it sounds from your comments as though you are in alignment with her. Monsieur Rochin, we know the unfortunate fate of your predecessor that still hangs overhead of this committee in this investigation today. I will ask the same question of you on behalf of Canadians. Do you believe that Canadians for $60 million plus received value for money with ArriveCan? Yes or no, please?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. And I'm not going to contradict what Huppé just said. I think the Comptroller General's answer would be the same that I would give, with the qualification that, of course, It was a complex system that was produced on an emergency basis. We're talking not just the development cost, but the operational costs, the maintenance costs, the upgrade costs. So not exactly an easy thing to determine with regard to value for money, but very troubling what the OAG found with regard to a lack of documentation. And as a result, I would agree with both the AG report and Mr. Rupe in saying that there were some shortcomings with regard to value for money.
Wait a minute. I have a big problem with what Mr. New CIO just said. This is the guy. He's the new CIO of Canada.
How new? Do you
Like
know? Like
a
a couple
month?
months? Okay. So brand new.
But I did look him up. He's been a public servant for a long time. So
Well, this seems to be the problem with a lot of these guys. And I'm not saying everybody, but just like the ones we're seeing in committee, it seems like they've been in public service forever. And they're kind of stuck in their ways.
yep. Well, and when you never learn the proper way of doing things, because I hear from people a lot, the government doesn't do things properly. Like, well, heck, when they're making up their own terms and their own things and their own processes.
And giving away $60 million for no good reason.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to say that they're not doing things properly. Anyway, when he says that, oh, well, this is complex and there's upgrades and there's support costs and, so that's going to be difficult to quantify. Well, wait a minute. You're the head of IT in all of the government, and you're saying that an app like that or a service like that is difficult to quantify in terms of value for money. Then by that aspect, then you're saying every service is difficult to measure value for money, because every single service that IT provides, it has build costs, it has development costs, it has support costs, it has upgrade costs,
Maintenance costs.
so you're saying that's for everything. You're the guy in charge of IT? Wow.
So wait, who did this guy replace?
Catherine Luella.
Oh, she was the one that was actually trying to do an honest job, and then
She quit. She said, I'm done.
Yeah, she's like, I can't do what needs to be done. You guys won't let me, so why am I here?
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
basically like, you people are crazy. I'm out of here.
And this is what happens in toxic work environments when you get somebody good that comes in and they do want to change things for the better. They can't. Often their hands are tied because their superiors won't let them, their coworkers won't let them, because all of a sudden you've got like this person doing a really good job is making everybody else look bad.
Right.
So either that person becomes as bad as the rest of them, or they just leave.
There you go. So the fact that this guy is not even 6 months on the job and he's saying this, and let's be real, folks, the only reason he's saying this is he was told to say this. He was told to basically toe the line, and no doubt that's why he was hired, because he was from internal. Anyway, we should all be very concerned that this guy is the Chief Information Officer of Canada.
No, I very much appreciate that response. And to add to your responses, I will also indicate that the AG did say repeatedly, and as she is in the room today, I'm not afraid to say this, that she also believed that the pandemic, the crisis situation, is not an excuse for Canadians not to receive value for money. And I think that this is a very important lesson going forward. You also mentioned about the testing. It was also determined in the Auditor General's report that many of these tests were not even completed. And of course, when we look back again for the value for money, we think about the testing and the outcomes. This app sent 10,000 Canadians needlessly into quarantine. But as for value for money, it seems as though we have definitely come to the consensus today that there was not value for money. I will press forward then. The Treasury Board mandate is to provide oversight of the government's financial management and spending, as well as oversight on human resources issues and digital transformation issues. So again, Monsieur Huppé, I would like to know, please, was the Treasury Board involved in reviewing the contracts approved for ArriveCan for both the CBSA and the PSPC, please?
No, in this particular case, no, because they were done within the authorities of either CBSA or Public Services and Procurement in this case. So as you understand, there's a delegation of authority. departments act within their own authorities. If it would have went above these authorities, then the contract would have had to come to Treasury Board ministers. But in this case, it was delivered within the existing authorities of those two departments.
I appreciate your response, but that response is very difficult to believe in the total sum of the $60 million having been, and potentially, even as the Auditor General said, up to $12 million, uncertain as to where it went. And perhaps I would encourage the President of the Treasury Board to evaluate these principles in an effort to determine where this funding really went. In Section 4.17 of the Directive on Management of Procurement, it states that both business owners and contracting authorities are responsible for protecting taxpayer dollars from fraud, corruption, unethical business practices, and collusive behavior, as well as sharing information on wrongdoing, ensuring individuals do not accrue direct benefits, and requiring contractors and subcontractors to be ethical throughout their supply chains. From the Auditor General report, it's obvious that almost all of
Ms.
these
Kusie, you're
were
just
repeatedly violated.
Ms. Kusie, you have
Yes.
time for a brief question.
Okay, thank you. Has the Treasury Board followed up with the three departments at all in order to restore the compliance and investigate the systematic nature of this issue? And I will please direct that to Monsieur Franco, the Director of Procurement Material and Communities Directorate. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I think that there are various investigations underway with regards to the actions that have been identified, both in the Auditor General's report, the Ombudsman's report, and there's a management action plan that has been put in place by those departments.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. Merci, cher témoin.